it's Sherelle from El Rey Designs, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how I make my hair bows. So this hair bow tutorial is part of my series I'm doing right now. I showed you a video on how I sublimate my fabric for my baby bummies. I've also made a video of me showing you guys how I assemble and sew my baby bummies, and this is going to be a video on how I make my matching bows for my baby bummies. So for this video, I'm going to be making two 4-inch bows, 4-inch piggy bows. So for that, for my dimensions, what I do is I determine what size I'm making. If I'm making a 2-inch, 3-inch, 4-inch, or 5-inch, and even a 6-inch bow. And that's going to be my height of my bow. So this right here is 4 inches. And we have a ruler here. So you can see here, it's roughly 4 inches. And then what I do for that is I take my height and I times it by 3. So this bow is going to be 4 by 12 inches. If I do a 2-inch bow, it'll be 2 by 6 inches. If I do a 3-inch bow, it'll be 3 by 9 inches. A 5-inch bow, 5 by 15, 6 by 18, and so on. So yeah, that's how I measure it. I just feel like it gives it the nice thickness. It doesn't make the bow flimsy, because basically we're gonna be folding the bow over 2 times to make sure it holds its shape. So what I like to do with my bows, first you're gonna need all your materials. You're gonna need your fabric. So I have all my fabric here. You're gonna need whatever size bow you want, and then you're gonna need your centerpiece. I do my bows in 2 pieces. For my centerpieces, they're always the same size. They're usually like 2 by 4 inches. That's just standard for me, because I could fold it, I can make it smaller, I could fold it, I can make it thicker. So 2 by 4 inches works for me. And then you are going to need a needle and thread. Any thread works, polyester thread, cotton thread, it doesn't really matter, just any sewing thread. I usually stick with white. I don't try to match it with the fabric. There's no need, because you're not gonna see it. If you do black, maybe you wanna use black, but other than that, white works for everything else. And I have my needle, and I also have thread already on it. I do double my thread, so I fold it over. So this is double threaded. You're gonna need either hair elastics, or you're gonna need hair clips, your preference. My bows automatically come with hair clips unless the person wants hair ties. And for my hair ties, these aren't the ones I use. They're straight away. I use the nylon hair ties, and I offer them in black and nude. Also, there's 2 ways you could do it. You could do your whole bow with needle and thread, which is what I prefer now. When I first started, I did do the rubber band method, and I will show you that way as well real quick. I don't use that way anymore though. And then you would just need scissors, and I also like to use some type of ruler. Usually I just use my cutting mat. My cutting mat is at a different station, and my filming station is over here, so I just pulled out my ruler, and this is just make sure my bows come out even and they're exactly 4 inches. So what I do, I'll take my fabric, fold it over. It doesn't matter which way you do it. If it's upside down or right side up, you just want the non-printed side facing up. And then you'll find a part on your ruler to measure. So we're gonna do 18, and I'm gonna do 18. I'm gonna fold this over until 14, because all the way over to 14, that's gonna give me 4 inches. So then how you would know I folded 14, my 14 should go to 10. 10 to 14 is 4 inches. 18 to 14 is 4 inches. 14 to 10 is 4 inches. And then as you can see, I have 10 to 6 here, that's another 4 inches. And then I'll just take this and we'll fold this over like so. And this is now, as you can see, 14 to 10 inches. That's 4 inches. So our bow is 4 inches now. And now we're gonna flip it over. And now if you're gonna do the rubber band method, what you're gonna do is you're gonna just fold your bow to make your own pleats. So you could do that, or you could use your needle and just sew and pull it. So now I find that this is easier. Before I couldn't get the needle and thread to make my pleats, but now it's easier for me. And this was actually harder, but it was easy for me at first. So what you do to fold is you're just gonna take this. I folded about 1/3 of the way up. Like so, so probably halfway up. A little under halfway up, and then I fold it back. So you fold it up, and then you fold it back. And you're just gonna repeat that step. So I'm gonna take it, fold it up, back, up, back. And then you're gonna make sure, your top and bottom layer are both facing backwards. And then you will get your rubber band. The clear elastics work the best because you can't see them. And then I just wrap my rubber band around 2 times, and I just try to get it centered. So I just play with it, move it around. But as you can see, what I was talking about, you want them both, the top and bottom part, you're both facing back. You don't want this part, your rough edges, facing the front of your bow. So you want to make sure they're both going to the back. And then just play with it. Make sure it's centered. You can also use your ruler for this. So place my bow back down. So it'll be between 10 and 14. For the center of that is 12. So I'm gonna make sure my rubber band is at the 12 mark. And that's how I know my bow is even on both sides. So that's that way. And then I'm gonna show you guys how to do it just using the needle and thread. So again, we'll do the same thing. Place our fabric face down. At 18, we're gonna fold it all the way over from 14. And then we're gonna fold this part over again. So our bow should be between 10 and 14. For 4 inches, we are going to flip our bow over. Then for the needle part, you wanna make sure you put it in the center. So between 10 and 14, the center is gonna be 12. So I'm gonna take my needle. I'm not gonna start it all the way at the bottom because I want this part to go under. So I want it to be in the back. So we're gonna go up just a little bit. It's like right here. We're gonna poke that through. And then literally you're just gonna go up and down through your fabric and make sure you stay pretty centered. You wanna make sure you get at least 4 pleats. You want your bow to have the same amount of pleats. I did, there's 4 in this one, so make sure I have 4 in this one. So there's 2. That's 3. That's 4. So all these bumps are pleats. So if I get 4, I'm just gonna pull my needle and thread all the way through, and you're gonna pull it pretty tight. And then you're just gonna start wrapping your thread around the center. And if you want, you could place it down right now to make sure you're getting it centered. So if we do 10 to 14, make sure you're pulling it at 12. And I like to do mine around 3 times. And then we're gonna flip it over and we're gonna secure this. So I just take my needle and I just kind of thread it through part of the fabric in the back. Pull it. Make sure your string isn't tangled. And then I'm gonna take my needle, I'm gonna put it through this loop, and I'm gonna wrap it around 1 extra time and then pull it. And that's gonna make a knot. We're gonna do it 1 more time. So you stick it through a piece of the fabric. And this is all gonna be in the back part of the bow. So where this extra flap is, that's your back part of the bow. So take it, pull it, and open up that loop of thread. You're gonna take your needle put it through that loop, wrap that around one time, and then pull it to secure it. And then you go cut off the excess. And then that's gonna be your bow there. We're gonna fix it and everything after. And now we're gonna go back to the rubber band bow. I still wanna sew this up because I wanna make sure it's super secure because it's a rubber band. It could clearly break. So what I do is basically the same thing. I just take my needle. This is basically just a guide that's gonna keep my bow in place. So make sure everything is even. One side looks a little bigger to me. Let's get it as even as I can. Find the center, and we're gonna flip our bow over to the back side. And I'm gonna take my needle, just push it through the center, through a piece of fabric, pull it, and again, we're gonna wrap that around 3 times as well. So as you can see, it's just a kind of an extra step to do. But no matter what I do always, whether the rubber band method or just the needle and thread method, I always still secure my bows in the center with a needle and thread. That way I know it's not gonna fall apart. So this is how our bows are looking. And now we're gonna need our center pieces. Okay, you guys, so now we are going to do the center part of our bow. So you're gonna get this piece here. Make sure your bow is facing up and not upside down if you have a pattern that only goes one way. And then you're gonna take this, flip it upside down, and you're gonna fold it about halfway, and then fold the other part halfway. And again, if you have a set pattern, make sure your pattern is going upright as well. And then you're just gonna take this, and you're gonna place it in the center of your bow. And then you're gonna just pinch it in the back to hold it, like so. And then what we're gonna do is we need to flip these. So you're gonna hold each side, and we're gonna flip it the same way. So if I'm gonna flip this one up, I'm gonna flip this one up too. I'm not gonna flip one up and one down, because then your band will be twisted. So again, I'm gonna flip them both up and connect them. So now your band should be twisted. And then we're gonna take our needle, and you're just gonna start sewing this band. Sewing both sides together. I start at the end, push it through. Also, I'm not pulling the band tight at all. It's literally, I'm pulling it as much as it will stretch. I'm literally just holding it how it is. I didn't pull it extra. I'm not pulling it tight, nothing like that. Because since this is sublimated fabric, if you pull it tight, too tight, your print will start to distort, and you don't want that. So now I just pretty much go back and forth. With my needle, tying the 2 pieces of the middle band together. And then when I get to the end of the band here, I go over that quite a few times just to make sure it's really secure. So I'll do that probably like 3 to 4 times. And then when I get to the other side, I'm gonna do the same thing. Just make sure I do a couple passes at the end to make sure it's really secure and nothing is going to just fall apart or break on the customers. And then once I do that and I feel like it's secure, I'm gonna take my needle, I'm gonna put it through a little piece of the fabric. And then I put my finger through to find a loop. I put my needle through that loop. And then I wrap it around 1 time, and then I'm gonna pull it tight so it forms a knot. And then you're gonna do the same thing again. Put your needle through a piece of the fabric. Put your needle through the hoop, or wrap it around, and pull it. And then you're gonna cut your excess thread off. And then we're also gonna take this. We're gonna try to hold our bow back through our fingers. So what I do is I take my thumb and my ring finger and I'm kind of push the bow down, if you guys can see. And then I use my pointer and middle finger to pull the extra fabric from our middle piece. And then I'm gonna cut just above those threads we just sewed to remove the excess fabric because we don't need all of this. And then we're gonna take this, you're gonna tuck this piece under, so you're gonna flip it back. That's why it's important to make sure when you put your two band piece, your middle band piece together to sew it, you're flipping them the same way. So that way, after we flip it under, nothing is going to be twisted. And then you're just gonna play around with it. So that's how the back looks. As you can see, it looks neat. It's not dirty. It's not dirty. It's not a big loop. I don't like the knots. It just doesn't look that nice. And now literally all you're gonna do is play around with your bow now. Play around with it, you get it to how you want. If you notice some of your bottom pieces here are sticking through, what you're gonna do, you'll just take this, like the middle part, you'll take that, trim it with your scissors, and then tuck it back in. And then you're gonna just fluff it out, like so. And then I use hair clips. So I'll just put my hair clip in, and I put my hair clips on the bottom. So my fabric is facing upright. I take this and I put my clip at the bottom. It just helps the bows sit nice on the child's head. And it should look just like this. And now you have a completed hair bow. Now, if you're gonna be doing a hair tie, what you're gonna do is you're gonna do the same thing. Take your middle piece. You're gonna fold it in half, fold it in half. You're gonna take your hair tie and put that over like this. And then you would take this, make sure everything's the right way. And you would just basically do the same thing, but your hair tie has to be on first. And I just make sure my hair tie is in the front so it's out the way. Now I'll flip it over. Take my band, make sure I turn them the same way. So I always like to just fold them up, put them both upwards, then pinch them together. And then you would take your needle and then just sew the band, the two band pieces together, and then cut off the excess. And then when you're done, you'll just take your hair tie and pull it to the back, like so. Yeah, so I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you guys want to see more bow tutorials or more bummy tutorials, any type of tutorials you have in mind with sublimation or baby clothing or whatever, please leave them down below in the comments and I'll make sure to add those to my list. Again, I thank you guys so much for watching and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.